Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet an interesting episode of The Inspiration Road, brought to you by myself, Thomas Malonda, and
Rogers Care. And if you have not, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And you can also listen to the audio version of the podcast by subscribing to our podcasts on Google Podcasts and Stitcher, all Apple Podcasts if you're an iPhone user.
So today we bring you an interesting person yet again. I'm so happy to have him because actually him and I sat in the same classroom back in high school years back. But today he's here to share insights with millennials. So the person I'm talking about is a social entrepreneur and agriculture enthusiast. He is the CEO and founder of AgroDuka, which is doing wonders for farmers in Uganda. And we are yet to hear more about what he's doing and the milestones they are achieving. But before we go into all that, allow me to welcome Mwota Basil. You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you today, and we hope that the discussion we're going to have will help many millennials out there to transition from being reactive to being proactive. So I want to start with where you grew up from. So in Uganda, for those of you watching us today, we have a place called Kamocha, and when you mention Kamocha, what comes into the minds of people is the ghetto. So it's hard for anybody to think that any good thing can come from the ghetto. But the person we are talking with today is a product of that place. So Mwota, I want to know, how was the experience like growing up in Kamocha? Because when I think about the ghetto, I think about poverty, I think about, less opportunities. But you managed to come from that humble background to becoming a global citizen, which not everybody does. So how was that, and does that inform the person you are today? Like, has it contributed to the personality you have grown into?
Kamocha, growing up in Kamocha was tough because there is lack of opportunity, there is school dropouts. Majority of my friends get into drug addiction to alcoholism, and all sorts of mishaps are in Kamocha. But as a boy, it taught me resilience. Going to school and not being able to pay on time, taking you back home because of lack of tuition. Our family is of 8 people, and it was hard for these people to get food, to get all these necessities. And it is one of the reasons why majority of my childhood I was with my mother in Katiti, in Mwota region. This is when I got to know how to farm. This is when I got to realize that farmers were cheated by middlemen who would buy from them, my mother and other farmers, at a very cheap cost and sell to towns at exorbitant prices, making abnormal profits on and the farmers wouldn't get enough money out of it. And going back to Kamocha, you grow up with all these people and they have these dreams to be the next Messi's, to be the next, top musicians, Chris Browns and what have you. And what they do is different from what they want to become. Say they want to become Barack Obama, but what they're doing is they don't want to study, they don't want to. And these are the kinds of friends you have. So it takes yourself, to motivate yourself, to be focused and say that yes, I come from Kamocha, but I will make it, I have to make it. And I am still on the journey. And many people tell me that I have done a lot, but I believe there is so much to do. So I keep focused.
So let's still on that very point. Let's talk about being exceptional as a person. Marian Webster, in one of her poems, Our Deepest Fear, states that as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other permission to let theirs too shine. And as we are liberated from our own fears, the people in our presence are also liberated from their own fears. So you having been run for guild, having qualified for all these awards, you sort of qualify to fall in the exceptional people category. And as the saying goes, you can never lead anyone any further than you go. So what is your advice to millennials out there who are on the path to greatness? especially from the background that is similar to yours or even worse?
To what? Stay hungry. Stay hungry. You've met the Queen. Stay hungry. There is the Pope. There is Barack Obama. You've met Barack Obama. Stay hungry. Like, do not be satisfied with what you've achieved today. Do not be satisfied, okay, I've started agro-Luca. No, stay hungry. Stay hungry. Be with that motivation that, yes, we are doing it in Uganda. How about we do it in Kenya? How about we do it in East Africa? How about we take it to Africa? Stay hungry. So my advice to millennials is to stay hungry. Be motivated to do more and more and more. And maybe one thing, every time we fail, I have failed several times. Several times. I've applied for stuff, I have failed. I've contested for positions, I have failed. But what defines you is not how many times you fall. What determines you is how much quick are you to rise up again and go out there and be the best of yourself.
Expounding on what you just said, like when you fall, what determines who you're going to become is the ability to, step up. There is a common statement, and actually, a guy called Jesse Maxwell wrote a full book on it. That sometimes we win, sometimes we learn. So that's a concept that I think many millennials do not know, because when they fail, when they hit failure, that's where they stop. So I know that, just like you mentioned, you face this a lot in terms, for example, the recent elections where you contested and you did get the result you wanted. I'm sure that you've gotten lessons and most likely you're going to return again in the next campaigns. So what can these millennials do? Because if though somebody does not have that muscle, because I believe that it developed from the background you came from, like in Kamwanja, you feel that the resilience is really key to be successful. But if somebody does not have it yet, they're watching for the first time, they're hearing you saying, you gotta be hungry, you gotta be resilient. How is this built?
Well, one of the greatest people in the Catholic Church, St. Majesty, said that a life that is not examined is not worth living. Each and every other day, you have to get a few minutes off. Think about what you set out to do. Well, some things you do not do, some you do. Get to know, why did I achieve this, and get to solve it. And then the other thing is about feeling low. When you lose, it gets to you, but you don't have to let it get to you. The sooner you rise up, the better. It is through these losses that you learn resilience, that you learn not to give up. I have applied for several things and I failed. But if you fail once and then you are not going to apply again, then you do not get the opportunity to go for it. But when you are resilient, you go for it one more time and another time. And it inculcates in you a strength that you cannot learn in any school. A strength that keeps you moving, a strength that keeps you going. That kind of resilience. Yes, I have contested for LT5 and lost. Is it the end of the world? No, it isn't. Come back bigger and stronger, but do not just come back. Take time off to self-examine. What went wrong? Were they the strategies? Is it myself? Do I have to add on some spices to my leadership? Are there other things that I have to do? And you should also learn to question yourself. Is it actually the thing I had to go for? Is it the position I had to go for? Didn't I have to go for something higher? All of these questions, when you self-examine yourself, you're able to come out stronger.
Allow me to move you to something else, solving problems for humanity. We've had a lot of guests here on the show. We had Claudine, we had Ambrose Chibuka, and it seems more like the theme around being able to add value to life is solving problems for humanity. Now, before I even tell you about the theme of this, I learned that you will have a certificate from MOOC in computer applications. Yes, true. Knowledge of which you use to start an agriculture, which has solved a lot of problems. I was checking, and 300 farmers have been connected to buyers in over 36 districts in Uganda, which is very good. So, which means it is saving the farmers time, it is saving their energy and saving their resources. To give an example of a mother who now has time to do other things at home. Now, tell me about the fact that the internet could be one of the greatest gifts for the 21st century, and also how millennials can be able to utilize and tap into this resource and make the world a better place.
Vince, the inventor of TCP/IP, which is the internet now, offered the internet to the world as a gift to use to change the world. Now, majority of the youth use the internet to surf for pornography, to promote hate speech, and all that. But the internet can be used to do bigger things. When Internet Society was celebrating 25 years, I was honored with 25 under 25 Internet Society Award in Los Angeles for agro. So I knew that, well, I can do this manually. I can do agriculture manually. Sematimba calls me and says I have tomatoes, and I get him marketing. But then we can also use Facebook to do it through Messenger or WhatsApp. So there is a lot that the youth can do with the internet. I am here now at Inspiration Roots, and I'm told this video will be on YouTube. That's the internet, and that's promoting ebook using the internet.
So being able to add value to people's lives using the platform, actually, to sum it up, you say that using what you have to get what you do not have, right? So someone once told me that in order to add value, you do not have to have the formal kind of asset and all that. You don't have to have an office to start a business, because there is internet now. You do not have to have a microphone and a crowd to move the crowd. All you need to do is upload a video, and that's exactly what you've been telling us about. So, would you please tell us more about the concept of solving problems for humanity? Like I said, you started agriculture, which has solved a lot of problems for farmers. So, how does this work?
Yeah, and I'll tell you how agriculture works. But first, I'll tell you two words again. Just start. He was mentioning about certificate in computer applications. All of these things are meant to make people believe that you cannot do anything before you study it or what have you. I did do computer science, for example, and one time when the Internet Society was interviewing me, I told them that I'm a dreamer. Like, I dream of things, and I bring people together to make them happen. So you can start with the little you have. You do not have to wait to have plenty of resources, to have plenty of personnel to help you. Just start and then keep moving. So what agriculture does is it helps farmers find credible market for their food produce. A farmer, say Nalwezo, can send us a message or call and say, I have maybe 5 tons of maize. Then we help her locate the buyers and the credible market. But more to that, and this is what we did in 2019, we know that it is good to get market for the farmers' produce, but it's also good to have good yields to be marketed for, because then they will get better yields. So we also took on a task of equipping these farmers with knowledge on how to use modern farming methods, on how to use technology to get better yields, to get market, and what have you. And we had an agriculture campaign with DG, where the Katikiro of Uganda was the chief guest, and we were able to educate these farmers, to inculcate knowledge into them on how they can farm better, on how they can use technology and modern farming methods to get better yields.
So still on that aspect of dreaming big, setting goals so high. There is a famous quote by Michelangelo that our greatest danger is not that we set our goals too high and miss, but rather we set them too low and hit. And that brings me to the concept of naysayers. I think I happened to be a naysayer one time in your life. So at that time when you were gonna run for guild in Makere, because we happened to be at the same time because we were classmates. I remember we met somewhere and you told me about this. I don't know if I was the first time first person you told, but you told me, hey, I'm gonna run for this. What do you think? And I tried to bring it, and I was saying that I think that's too high. Why should you go for guild? You know, you can go for GRC, and I remember you had been in GRC before. So then you said I've been there, and I was like, can't you go for it again? But then the next semester I find out that you went ahead to go for that big dream. And one great guy called actually a famous actor called Arnold Schwarzenegger, in his, I think there are 5 rules of success, he said ignore the naysayers. So what does it take to ignore naysayers? Because I've been one before. What does it take to ignore people like me in your journey such that you go and attain those big goals that you have?
Well, you do not ignore them, and I advise the youth, don't ignore the naysayers. They have a point sometimes. They have a point. Maybe Thomas, I remember we had met at University Hall. The image is so familiar to me because it's only a few people that told me do not do that. Yeah, so you listen to them because perhaps they have a point, and you want. Excuse me. So Thomas had spent maybe years without seeing me, so he didn't know the progress that I had made. He didn't know that I was GRC. So for him, he had the image of the seminary. I'm a boy who can speak, all that stuff. But then you listen to him and you're like, what do I need to change? Then the other thing, I've read this book of Norman Vincent Peale, Power of Positive Thinking. Be positive all the time. When you're positive, you attract positive energy. The universe gives you this positive energy. When you think, it's one of the great philosophers say that I think and therefore I am. What you think manifests. What you want the people to see is what they see. So when you listen to these naysayers, listen to them, but don't let it in. Get their point, get to know whether, of course, some do not really have substance, but there are those who say it and they have substance. So you listen to them and then you try to change that, but do not change course. Listen to them, but don't change course. Keep pursuing, but just alter a few things to make you achieve that goal. And then you talk about goals. There are goals you have to set for today. There are goals you have to set for next month, and then this year, and then 5 years to come. Now, every goal you move has to take you closer to the bigger goal. And how you achieve this is that we are living in a very, very cruel world where you lose a lot of time. And the only way you can find hope is through celebrating the small wins. The small wins, they're very important. Do not wait to meet the queen to say, well, I've made it. Every win counts. Every person you talk to and they say, wow, it's a brilliant idea. That is a win. Celebrate it. But do not rely so much on it, because when you do, then you want to move forward. So celebrate the small wins. Keep inspired. Keep positive, and then keep pushing. There will always be those people who will say you can't. But I'm here to tell you that you can. I grew up in Kamocha, Thomas said. Many of my contemporaries dropped out of school. They are now drug addicts. Well, some have tried to sing and they have failed. But I'm pushing. In spite of all the people that say that you won't make it. And there are people who told me Aburuka won't live for a year. It's coming to 3 years now. There are people who say things that they want you to feel low, stop doing what you want to do.
Mm.
You just have to keep going. You just have to keep focused and be positive.
How do you handle ego? Like many times when you begin getting small successes, ego steps in. So for example, you've met that queen. Not everybody meets that queen. I think even many guys in the UK watching us now, they've not met that queen physically. They see her on TV, but they've not. But you have met like a humble boy from Kambodsha. You go to the UK, working Palace, you will meet the queen. Somebody would want to step on everybody like, I mean, the queen. Like ego comes up. And of course, you've attained even other awards. You've been recognized by many people, the Buganda Pride, particular Peter Maika, and many others. How do you manage to stay humble?
Yeah, it goes back to the two words I started with, staying hungry. When you are hungry, you cannot be egoistic. You cannot be proud. When you are hungry, you need food. You need to maybe work for it. If you work for it, then you have to be humble to your worth. You need to maybe ask for it. If you have to ask for it, you have to ask it in the most humble way possible. Everyone is prone to ego. Everyone. And with all due respect, I think maybe the Pope as well could be prone to ego. Egoism is inherent of human beings. Yeah. But when you stay hungry, when you say, yes, I have met the queen, but I'm not supposed to throw it in people's faces, I'm supposed to work again, then you are hungry, then it cuts the ego. The ego does not go away completely. It is a lifetime thing that you have to deal with every day. You have to deal with your ego. Because when you are egoistic, you lose a lot of opportunities.
Sure.
Because many people love harmony. They love people that they think they can step all over. And when you are humble, it doesn't mean that you're nobody.
Sure.
But it actually means that you're bright. It means you're strategic. It means that you know that you need people to reach wherever you are and to work with them. You have to be humble.
Thank you. Let's have a short break, and when we come back, Mwota here will tell us about his Buckingham Palace journey. Welcome back from the short break. Mwota, there's a saying that if you are more proud of what you attained yesterday, you have not attained much today. Now, you are going to tell us about the Buckingham Palace journey. Very, very thrilling. We'd love to hear about it. But on top of it, you're going to tell us the things that you learned, and you're also going to tell us your way forward from what you achieved. As it kickstarted you to do more things.
Yeah, so I received the call to meet the Queen. I was driving a colleague to PG, and this number calls, it's a plus something that is not Ugandan. Let me pull over. And this guy was like, is this Basil Water? Like, yes. How are you? I'm good. Like, okay, say what you want.
Yeah.
Don't do this.
I want to join it.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm happy to inform you that you have been selected as a Queen's Young Leader. Now, PG is on the way to Masaka, but I had to move out of the car. I had to kneel down. Like, I'm not thinking whether Lake was a paranormal or not, but I'm like, wow, like, I'm meeting Queen. So this person I was with was like, what's wrong with the guy? Yeah. But I mean, it's not every day that you meet the Queen. And of course, we had to prepare for an entire 6 months course on leadership, leading change. But then we had to do a 2 weeks in Cambridge, Madingley Hall to prepare for how you meet her and all these things. But all this time, I'm thinking, okay, suppose something comes up, the day comes and she's sick, and they're like, okay, we're sorry, you can't meet her, but we can meet Prince. I don't know. Yeah. So it was an entire year of anticipation, and the day prior to meeting Queen, I barely slept. Yeah, I barely slept. I didn't believe it was happening. And then we get to the bus, and then we get in Buckingham Palace. It's an amazing place. The dome is so high, with gold and diamond. It's amazing. And the time that makes your heart pop out is when they read your name. And you're moving towards her.
Yeah.
And you do not know whether you're taking the steps right or not. You're not sure about your
So what is the training for the training I did in Cambridge for?
You do all that, but when you get there, it's different. Like you forget your name. They can ask you who are you, and you're like, so you get to of course they don't tell you what she's going to say.
Actually, so you were talking to her. I watched the video when you met her and you talked for a few seconds.
Yeah. And you meet her and you do not know whether to smile.
It might be
Emotions. You do not want to.
it might be offensive.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was thrilling, and then she speaks to you nicely. She doesn't stop on one question. She's interested in knowing more. For me, that's humbling for the Queen to. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't think she remembers any of these things. But I mean, the fact that she shows interest. What do you do? How do you do it? It's really thrilling. Yeah, and it takes us back to humility. She's the Queen. She has everything, but she's still reaching out to a ghetto boy in Uganda, to a person in Barbados or Comoros. Yeah.
Wow. So what major lesson apart from humility is there any other that you can pick out from millennials watching you today? I know probably they're not gonna meet their Queen, but there could be some other, big steps they're gonna reach after using the lessons you can share with them.
Yeah, like I said, just start, and when you just start, it means you have to start small. When you move out there, even here when you're seated, you do not know where the opportunities are. So treat everyone with respect. You do not know what Maruda knows. You do not know what who knows. You're on a bus, you're on a plane, you do not know whether you're seated with the secretary of the cooler. Make connections. When I was in the seminary, of course I wanted to become a priest. And like you said, I was the most quiet person. But the world out there requires more. I am an ambivert, and sometimes introverted and sometimes extroverted.
Me too.
But I want to go into the extroverted. Because it is only then when you will ask, so Thomas, how are you? What do you do? You're connecting with them, but you're also looking for opportunity. So make those connections. They might seem little. It might be a person that takes a border. Look at Ricky Thompson in Rubber. He was riding a motorcycle in Chile, and now he's with Surfboarder. You never know. So every person that you meet, treat them with all due respect. It is through these people that you get these opportunities. I remember when I went to the Internet Society and I met a lady from Egypt, Rado, and they had the youth forum in Egypt, and I didn't have to apply. She just called. She's like, Mwota, do you want to come to Egypt? I'm like, yes. And you see, but if I met her in Los Angeles and I was proud, I didn't talk to her, it would be different.
Yeah.
And you do not know what other things you get from that. So you remain humble. It is inherent of human beings to be egoistic. But you try as much as you can to remain humble. Because humility is definitely a virtue.
So let's talk about bouncing back from adversity. So, of course, what I knew and what I still know is that out of the 2,000 applicants who applied for that award, of course, it escalated me, but 243 were chosen out of 53 African countries. So, and then I got to learn today that you first had to apply twice because you rejected once. So, which brings in a very important concept of bouncing back from adversity after rejection. Now, I want you to talk to our millennials here. I believe that rejection is a very big issue, from, of course, relationships to also employment. When you're looking for a job, you're going to be rejected here and there. Closing deals, everything we do there is rejection. But how does someone learn the art of bouncing back from adversity?
I think how people react to others is by how they, like, through their perspective and how they see things. When I react badly to someone, it doesn't mean that person is bad. It could be because I'm going through something. I mean, I met Queen, I got the Queen's Young Leaders Award, but Westerville Foundation has rejected me 4 times. Wow. So it's not really about me. Possibly it is what they need from the corporate they want to get. It's not about you. So we get rejections. Maybe in childhood, parents, they reject you. Your father feels, I don't know. In the love relationships, you get this girl, she's beautiful. You love her so much. You do everything for her, she rejects you. Maybe your friends, betrayers, jobs. These rejections do not define us. It is how those people see us, but it's not how we see ourselves. We ought to sit down and examine ourselves and get to know who is Basil Mwota. Of course, the people know him as a Queen's and leader and all those things, political community, but who he exactly is. Because everybody knows a different version of you. But what is most important is what you know about yourself.
It's actually interesting that there's something called the Johari Awareness Club that basically has, is it three circles, 4 circles. There is what I know about myself, what people know about me, what people know about me but I do not know about myself, and what about me that I do not know about myself. And it's interesting that you're taking us to the concept of self-awareness and how rejection does not define who you are, but it is simply a way of course, it defines how you react. Do you react, or are you proactive or reactive? Yeah. So please take us through more.
So Daniel Goleman, in his book Emotional Intelligence, talks about self-awareness. You need to actualize yourself to get to know who you truly are. If Thomas at UH approached me and said you cannot be king president, I would have boxed him. But because I know that I can be king president, his words do not have any impact on me whatsoever. So that is it. You have to sit down and get to know who you are, get to know your strengths, get to know your weaknesses. Then it is then that what, say maybe I have a big nose and I have refused to believe that I have a big nose. When Terence tells me that, Basil, you have a big nose, I will feel bad. But when I have a big nose, and I know that I have a big nose, and Terence tells me, Basil, you have a big nose, I say, yes, I have a very big nose. It is because you have accepted yourself. And before you do that, you will do a lot of things that you will not do amazingly. Because when you know yourself, you know your talent, you know your skill. Say maybe you're talented in music, why do you play football? Search for your soul, search for yourself, search for your talent. Know what you're good at. I hate to say it, but I think I'm good at speaking. I didn't know this. when I was in primary school. When I joined the seminary, I didn't know this. I would only be to myself and I read. But as soon as I realized that I can actually speak, I was like, okay, how do I mention this? Maybe I need to read this book. Maybe I need to talk to this person. Maybe I need to talk to these people. Maybe I need to engage in a debate human. So it is only when you know that, yes, Basil, you're good at speaking, but you can't sing. So do not waste time in the studios. Go to where you can go to where you want to the things you can do. You can speak, so go and give motivational speeches, go and do this. So it is about getting to know yourself. There is no one in this world, not even our mothers, can understand us deeply more than we can understand ourselves. I think the mother is like the closest person to the child, but there are things that you do, and I mean, when the Gildred Freedom Square rally, my mother came, and thousands of students were screaming water. And she was there, and they were holding me on top of their shoulders. And I mean, I'm her son, and she couldn't believe it. It's like, it's not him. You get it?
Yeah.
So you need to get to know yourself. Get to know what you're good at, but get to know what you're bad at. It is important. Because when you know that you're not good at this, then you won't waste time there. Capitalize on your strength. Hey, to work on the weaknesses. But there are certain weaknesses that don't go away. I mean, I have I don't see well. I have to use spectacles. I cannot dwell on that all the time. Oh my God, I can't see. What did I do? You can adjust, you can get spectacles and then move forward. So when you get to be aware of yourself, then no one can tell you everything they tell you is something you already know. What are you, very stupid? I know I'm right. So it won't get to you.
Let's dig into the Alberta story. I know we've tapped on it slightly, but I want to know the inspiration behind Alberta. How did it start? Like, what was the motivation, and have you attained the goals for which it was set? Maybe not completely, but maybe you've gotten a particular section of them. But I'm interested in the story. How did this get to come?
So I grew up in Kamocha, and Kamocha is a ghetto. Hard times. We are 8 children, and my father was a shopkeeper, and my mother is a farmer. So it was hard for them to feed the entire 8 children, and pay for the tuition and all of these needs. So we would spend most times in Katiti. Katiti is in Mwota Basil. And my mother is really good at farming. So she taught us how to farm. But as I grew up, I got to realize that the prices that the middleman would pay for our produce were lower than the prices in Kampala. And I'm thinking, okay, can I do something to help them? And I realized that their challenge was information. They do not know what is the price of Matoke in Kampala. So it is just an information gap. So if I talked to them, then it would be easy for them to trust me to sell their produce. So that is how agro comes in. I used guild. I won guild presidency, and there was Jen Kaibura. He wanted me to work with him, and I didn't want to work with him. So he uses the law to overturn my victory in six months. So this is when I speak about bouncing back. So when you lose guild presidency, with exception of the loss of my father, I think that is the most depressing thing that has ever happened to me. When you know you have won, you've been there for 6 months, and then all of a sudden they overturn your victory in inappropriate ways. And I say, okay, this is the time to think about this. So I just open up. I start with Facebook, and I open up aggravating her on Facebook. And people start saying, oh, what's this about? Blah, blah, blah. Talk to people about it. I talk to friends about it. And fortunately, an application comes in to talk about leadership, to talk about peace. Because when I was taken away from the presidency, there were riots in the university and it was closed. And I told these people, calm down. It's not the end of the world. And we can also serve even without youth presidency. So they wanted me to talk to leaders about peace, because in me they saw someone who can promote peace. Yeah. I mean, I have lost something I love so much, but then I am able to keep peace. So when I go to Switzerland, I talk about peace. But they give us an opportunity to pitch. Pitching is like talking about a business idea. So this was the first time I pitched about America. And wow, everybody was impressed about the story, about what I want to do. And then I go to a gentleman who offered to make us a logo. You see, baby steps.
Yeah.
And then we have this, you can see, it's an amazing logo.
Yeah.
So we kept moving slowly. But when we came back, we started talking to farmers, making farmer groups, getting to know who farms what. And what market do they need? And then we started connecting them manually, getting to market in schools, in buyers in Kampala, hotels, individuals. Yeah. And we were awarded by the Internet Society 25 of the 25 awards. The next genuine franchising in Phoenix. The president of Egypt, President Abdel Fattah Hussein al-Sisi, invited us to exhibit the World Youth Forum. I think there were about 30 startups invited from across the world. The Queen has awarded us. 2019 we carried out another culture campaign where we were able to inculcate knowledge of modern farming methods to 1,400 plus farmers. PG in particular was the chief guest. So we are making baby steps, and we hope that
Welcome back from that trip, right? Before Mwota leaves us, he's going to give us a package of wisdom to all the millennials who are watching, especially tailored to those who have either gone through a similar situation like his, or who aspire to be like him, or even acquire greater heights. Yeah, your words is
I thought you were still going. Yeah, mine is not really distinct from where I started. Stay hungry. It's important. Stay hungry. You're going to do amazing things. And I mean, Museveni is the president of Uganda, but there is a Secretary General of UN. Sure. There is a president of America. There is always something higher. When you are satisfied with what you have today, when you are satisfied with the achievements that you have gotten, then you won't go any higher. You won't go. Look at Chagulanyi. He was a musician. The president can go to parliament, and then he's in parliament, and then now he wants to be president. Maybe he will be president. Yeah. So stay hungry and talk to people. Talk to people. People are very generous with information, and there is a lot that you can use this information for. Many people have opportunities that you do not know about. When you talk to them, then you can get these opportunities. Be humble. People do not want people who will step over them. When you're humble, you attract people. The other thing is get to know yourself. The earlier you know yourself, the better. I beg to be. Who started the Kentucky Fried Chicken? Was it Warren? No, he was his name was Carlos Sanders. So Colonel Sanders discovers what he can do best at 60 or 60 something. How I wish he discovered that at 20. Think about it. KFC. He's at 20, he's making KFC and selling all over. So the earlier, the better. But it's never too late. Whether you're 40 or 60, you can still make it. But get to know yourself. Get to know what you're good at. Am I good at soccer? Go and play soccer. Am I good at speaking? Improve your speech. Practice. Read. Talk to people. Am I good at maybe academics? Go for that. Get to know what you're good at. Everyone is gifted, but we are gifted differently. Get to know your gift, and then you can nurture that gift.
Wow.
Maybe one more thing is discipline. Discipline. I could set out, say I want to read a book every month, and then it's 4 months and I've read 2 pages. It's not called discipline.
Yeah, true.
But when you're disciplined, you achieve small things, and these things put together, they are mass into something big.
Wow, that was powerful. I subscribe to what you said about knowing yourself, and there is a quote on that which was made by, I can't remember the name of the person, but it said that the worst mistake you can make is take an eagle to a dark school and vice versa, because they would both think they are the darkest creatures ever created. But where can people, reach out to you? Social media, contacts, in case people want to know about what you do at Agroduncan and any other thing that you do. How can they get in touch?
Yeah, so Agroduncan is on Facebook with Agroduncan. It's on Twitter at Agroduncan. Instagram at Agroduncan. Myself, I'm on Facebook, Mwota Basil Mwota. Twitter, at Mwota Basil. Instagram at Mwota Basil Mwota. My contact.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's +256 7052 36369.
Well, I hope you've learned a lot from today's interview from a great person, Mwota. And if you want to learn more about, how to transition from being a reactive person to being a proactive person, please remember to follow us on social media. Go to Facebook, Instagram, just type in Inspiration Note, you'll be able to see our page. Click on the follow button, and also go to YouTube and subscribe to the channel such that you do not miss out on such information and more that's yet to come your way. Until next time, be blessed.